Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then hi, my name is Caitlin. Welcome. And today I have my No Pan Left Behind update. So this update wasn't the best, but we do have two looks to share with you and we are rolling a palette out, so I'm pretty happy with that. We were working on 3 palettes this month, these palettes right here. So first we had the Orange You Glad palette from Colourpop. This is what it looks like, and we had this in for a few months and we only had 2 shades to work on. Then we had our singles palette, which looks like this. I always like to have at least one singles palette in this project at a time, just because my singles do get neglected, so I like to just make sure they don't get neglected and have them in a little bit of a project. And then we also had the Frozen Elsa palette, which also rolled in last month, and we were working on these shades. So as I said, a little bit slacking this month, but that's okay because we've got some fun looks, and yeah, it's not too bad. I've not completely neglected this project, only a tiny bit. But just before we do jump into the video, if you have not already, definitely like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. I do so many project pans, shop my stashes, and get ready with me's here on this channel, and yeah, I just have a really fun time. It's very, very chill, it's very upbeat. I'd love you to stick around. Okay, so let's start with the first palette. We only had 2 shades to use in this. So one of them was the pressed glitter, and I've actually decided not to work on the pressed glitter. It's hit or miss with pressed glitters, to be honest, and I only really use them on my nails, and I haven't really been working on much orange nail polish. I've got kind of like a goldy one on now. Pressed glitters, I'm just not a fan of. I'm not that bothered about. It's okay. So now we are going to talk about the look that I am wearing today, which is including this shade that we had left to work on. I have this shade currently in the middle of my cut crease to blend out a red and a yellow shimmer. So now that we have used this shade, we have used the complete palette, obviously apart from the pressed glitter that we've just talked about. So this palette is rolling out of this project, which I'm so excited about. I'm glad that I've actually used this palette. This palette has been one of my most neglected palettes. I'm glad that it's got a little bit of use from me, and I really like it. I don't know why it gets neglected so much because this palette is so beautiful, especially for summer. The UK hasn't had a good summer this year. We're cold and wet and rainy and windy, so that's probably why this hasn't been used so much. But I just really like the palette. It's really nice when you want to do something a little bit brighter than neutrals, but not super colourful. So yeah, this is going back in my collection. I've used every shade once, apart from the pressed glitter. Okay, so I'm going to continue talking about this eye look. So I started with a black, of course. I always start with a black if you're new to my channel. It's kind of a staple right now. It's kind of an inside joke that I just start every look with a black. But then I blended the black out with this shade called Awakened from the Elsa palette. It's kind of like a sequin shade. It's very similar to the other shade in this palette called Spindrift. But I did blend it out with this shade, and then I actually used some of my Those Eyeshadow shades to blend that out. So because these are Colourpop palettes, they are magnetic. So I'm just going to take them out when I talk about them, just for like ease of like seeing and like visually seeing my progress, because I always like doing that. Okay, so that has been taken out. Now for this look as well, staying with this look. So on the outer part of my cut crease, I do have this shade from my singles palette. This is the e.l.f. Berry Bad shade 3, and it's just like a really nice kind of maroony red shimmer, and I thought it would do really, really well blending out those shades, and I think it has done a very good job. Obviously, we spoke about the Orange You Glad shade in the middle. Then on the inner part, I have this goldy greeny shade. This is the shade Tiger's Eye from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I definitely wasn't expecting it to be this green. I was expecting it to be like very, very gold, but because it was so green, it kind of allowed me to think of something else to put on the lower lash line. And I actually have this bright acid matte green on my lower lash line. It's not as vibrant as I thought it would be. It's definitely more kind of sheer, but I actually really like it, and it's obviously allowed me to use another one of these shades. So this shade is on my lower lash line. I hope you can see it. It's definitely more neutral than I thought it would be, but I actually really like it. Okay, so I actually remembered there's 2 more looks, not just 1 more look. So lucky you get another look. So I'm gonna budge up. So this was the next look that we did, and this was mostly my Pan That palette. So the crease work was my Pan That palette, and of course a black. On the cut crease, I did use this shade down here. This is Amazonia from the Pastel Roses, and it is the most beautiful tealy blue shifty shade. It is stunning. I loved this look so much. It was very simple for me, but it was so effective, so beautiful, and this shade just makes it. I really want to work more on this shade sometime soon because it has my heart and soul. I absolutely adore it. This look was definitely one of my favorites over the past month, even though again it was very simple. And yeah, we also used this shade for that. Then the next look was done mostly using my Frozen 2 Elsa palette. So once again, I did start with a black, of course. Then I blended the black out with Spindrift, which is this kind of maroony pinky shade down at the bottom. It's very similar to the shade we just took out. Then I blended Spindrift out with Fire, which is this kind of mauvey transition-y shade. It's a really lovely shade. I like this. It can be paired with kind of reddy tones. It can be paired with neutral tones. It can be kind of paired with cool tones as well, which is really nice. So we'll take that out as well. And then I blended the cut crease out with this shade, which is called Gale. And it's like a kind of dark, kind of murky, cool toned, shimmery pinky purpley shade. I don't know. So yeah, that was that shade on the outer part of the cut crease. On the inner part of the cut crease, I did use How You Doing from MBA Cosmetics, and that is in my This Is Fantasy project pan. Okay, so they're the looks that I did this month, and just as like a visual representation, these are the shades that I am currently working on in this project. I think we've done really well actually this month, even though we only did 3 looks. I'm still pretty happy. This is all we've got to work on. So I'm gonna go off camera. I'm gonna refill this palette full of singles, and I think I'm gonna roll in another palette as well, just because we don't have that many shades to work on in this palette, and I think we can have this rolled out pretty easily. So yeah, I'm gonna challenge myself to another palette and more singles. So yeah, let me go off camera, let me choose my eyeshadows, and then I will come straight back. I'll see you in a sec. Okay, I'm back and I've chosen my new shades and my new palette, and I'm so excited to share these with you guys. Okay, so I'm going to start with the singles palette. So, are you ready? This is what our new palette looks like. I love this little color story. How cute is this? So obviously this top middle shade is staying. This actually doesn't have a name on it, as you can see. So this is from the Pastel Roses. I don't know what shade it is. And this little kind of pastel teal kind of shade is called Smoothie Please from the Revolution LA Dreams palette. That is also staying in from last month as well. So let's talk about new shades. I have this beautiful red to orange duochrome. It is called Venus from the Pastel Roses. Can I get the shift on this? I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, but it's got a beautiful orangey shift. That's going to be gorgeous. Then I have this kind of cool tone purple matte. That is from the Revolution Maxi Reloaded palette, and it is the shade 6. And I thought this shade would go really nicely with that. This is the shade Blueberry from the Pastel Roses. It kind of matches, but it is a shimmer. And I also chose Frosty from the Pastel Roses as well. It is like a blue to yellow kind of duochrome. And I thought this would go really nicely with Smoothie Please as well. So I've tried to pair some shades together for ease. I have been really into like a light pastel matte with a matching shimmer and then like a big wing liner recently. I've just really been liking that look, so I think these two purples and these two blues will go really, really nice. And I actually thought that Venus would go really nicely with my Pan That palette, which is my Modern Renaissance palette. And I did think last month that this kind of Tester Unknown shade would go really nicely with my Modern Renaissance as well, because I do have some cool tone shades to use up in there. So I'm happy with this palette. I'm really excited to get some use on it, and I'm really excited for this as well. This is my palette. Are we ready? It's my Juvias Place Zulu palette. I don't think I've been able to use this year so far, but you can see we do have 3 pans in this palette, and I'm just really, really excited to reach for it. I feel like I haven't been able to reach for this in so long, and I really want to eventually hit pan in every shade in this palette because I adore this palette so much. I haven't been able to reach for it. Like I said, it is a little bit neglected this year, but hopefully we can get some really, really fun looks out of this. And I'm just so excited to play around with it. Okay, so that is everything for this update, guys. I did think this was a big fat fail until I started filming, and now I'm realizing, you know what, we've done pretty well. I'm not too mad with myself. I feel like I've done good. So this is where I'm going to love you and leave you guys. If you did enjoy this video, definitely like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. I do so many project pans, shop my stashes and get ready with me's, and I would love for you to join this little family that we're building. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you tomorrow for a new video. Bye!